Good morning. I have the pleasure of introducing the mayor of the District of Columbia regarding very important issues surrounding the Schedule H property tax, which a lot of people are not aware of. And due to her kindness in listening to us at the budget oversight hearings, she took it into consideration that many of the seniors were having issues with their real property tax. So as a result of that, she was kind enough to give us an additional break on that. She's increasing the amount of the Schedule H for the real property tax. And here is the mayor of the District of Columbia, Mayor Bowser.
Thank you. Let's hear it for Carolyn Matthews. Give her a big round of applause. And thank you, everybody, for being here today. We are going to highlight some aspects of our budget that allow for us to make D.C. more affordable for more people. I'm joined today by Polly Donaldson, who is the director of DHCD, Stephen Taylor, who is the director of DSBY, Ashley Emerson, the director of the Mayor's Office of African American Affairs, Jenny Reed, the director of the Mayor's Office on Budget, and Jackie Reyes, the director of the Mayor's Office of Latino Affairs. And I want to thank Ms. Matthews for participating in our budget preparation discussions, and I'm pleased that your concerns have been addressed in our upcoming 2020 budget. So we know what today is, right? It's tax day, April 15th, and this means two things for D.C. residents. It's the day before Emancipation Day, and it's the day that people in Washington, D.C. are paying their federal taxes without the federal representation that goes with it. And so despite the fact that we don't have a single vote in the Congress, Washingtonians will join millions of Americans across the nation in submitting our tax payments and or filing our tax returns by midnight. We pay our taxes today, and tomorrow we will continue to fight for statehood and the votes in Congress that we deserve. And I also want to acknowledge that we have been joined by the AARP Legal Counsel for the Elderly, which provides free legal and social work services to D.C. residents. And we are here at the UPO because this is one of the many sites across Washington, D.C. where district residents can access free tax preparation services. In just a few minutes, Commissioner Taylor will speak more about how residents can learn about these services. I'm grateful for organizations like this that are providing free tax prep services because it's one more way that we can help D.C. residents, especially seniors and working families who are feeling the financial pinch. It's a way to make sure that more residents are able to take advantage of local and federal tax credits that can put money back in your pocket and give you the extra financial boost that we know a lot of people in our city can benefit from. So I want to draw your attention today to a few points. As you may know, I submitted my FY20 budget to the council just a few weeks ago. This budget is one that is focused on how we keep D.C. affordable for families and longtime D.C. residents. With this budget, I make a $130 million investment in our Housing Production Trust Fund. This is a pot of money that we use for projects that you may have heard of, like Plaza West. It's our city's first ever affordable housing community specifically designed for grandparents who are raising their grandchildren. We opened Plaza West in September, and it's a fantastic addition to our city and a project we should all be very proud of. In this budget, we also introduced a new tool, a workforce housing fund. This fund is about giving people who work in our community a fair shot at living here too. This fund is about saying that a teacher who is educating our children deserves to live in communities where they teach. A firefighter deserves to live in communities where they are saving lives. And our social workers who work day in and day out to care for our most vulnerable residents should be able to afford to buy a home or rent a home right in the district. So with this new fund, we can make that possible for more people in our communities. This budget acknowledges that the number one issue on the minds of D.C. residents from East and West and of all income levels is housing affordability. Rising housing costs have created new challenges for homeowners and renters alike, particularly for those on a fixed income and those who are struggling to make ends meet. We know how the saying goes. We've heard it too many times. I'm house rich and cash poor. It's a phrase that I am very familiar with, especially from seniors and working families who have worked hard to build a life in D.C., but are worried that they won't be able to afford to stay here. So we're proud to make sure our seniors have the full support of D.C. government. Our population of senior citizens is 117 strong. I should say 117,000 strong. That's out of our 700,000 D.C. residents. And that number grows and grows, of course. I've remained focused on making senior residents a priority. It's the seniors who got us here today. They are the reasons why we can now live in a growing and thriving city and in the best city in the world. So one way we've helped seniors is through our Safe at Home program. Safe at Home is a program that makes small grants to seniors, to qualified seniors, to allow them to make modifications to their homes, to make their homes safe for them to age in place. To date, we've helped over 1,200 seniors in our city. It's a successful program, and with this budget, we increased the Safe at Home budget by $2 million. Last year, we also made an investment in senior housing affordability. We put a cap on the amount property taxes can go up for eligible seniors, slashing the 10% cap that the rest of us have to make it a 5% cap. So eligible seniors' taxes cannot go up by more, tax bill cannot go up by more than 5% from year to year. But we need to do more. So in addition to these investments that I've spoken about, we're also making a $5.3 million investment that will allow us to expand Schedule H. We have renamed Schedule H, though it's a hard name to change, to keep Housing Affordable Act tax credit. So with this $5.3 million, we'll be able to do a few things with Schedule H. First, we can raise the maximum credit to $1,200. And second, we can increase the income ceiling so that more seniors and working families can take advantage of the credit. So, for example, in your tax calculations, if it shows that you are paying more than a certain percentage of your income on taxes or on rent, it will convert to that credit, which will put hundreds of dollars back in your pocket. The Keep Housing Affordable tax credit provides this financial relief to residents who are facing higher property taxes and rent compared to their incomes. If a resident qualifies for the full amount of the tax credit, they can effectively save $100 per month on their rental and housing costs. And that's real savings. Imagine that, taking $100 off a month. That can help with groceries, medicine, travel and entertainment and transportation costs. So today on tax day, we are urging every eligible resident to take advantage of the existing Schedule H credit as we work with the Council of the District of Columbia to expand the credit amount and those eligible for next year. This free preparation site right here in Ward 8 at 2907 Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue is keeping its doors open till 8 p.m. So district residents, if you haven't gotten your return together, you have time to get free help here at the Petey Green Center and at other centers throughout the District of Columbia until 8 p.m. until 9 p.m. And then you may also, of course, work on it on your own, although I don't recommend it, and file by midnight. I encourage all residents, and so this is important too. So even if you think that you don't have enough income or you don't have to file, you can't get this benefit if you're not filing. And the same is true for our earned income tax credit, which also puts hundreds of dollars into residents' pockets. So call us if you need questions. Come to Petey Green. Call 311 to find other locations. So with that, I'm going to ask our insurance commissioner to come up, and then we'll take your questions.
Great. Thanks very much, Mayor. And good morning. My name is Stephen Taylor. I'm the Commissioner for the Department of Insurance, Securities, and Banking here in the District of Columbia. I would like to thank Dana Jones and United Planning Organization for hosting this important event today. We feel strongly that it's important to draw attention to mayors keep a housing affordable tax credit. And what a great day to do on tax day. As a guy who has a master's in tax law, this is a fun day of mine, and you heard the mayor talk about these important tax credits. My department is a regulatory agency charged with overseeing financial service providers in the district that impact the daily lives of residents and businesses here. Hopefully you're aware that April is Financial Literacy Month. This month, the district residents can take advantage of free educational programs, resources, and services that promote inclusive prosperity, economic growth, and personal financial well-being. One of those services we have been providing is free tax preparation. District residents who earn $55,000 or less with dependents, or those earning $35,000 or less without dependents, are eligible for this free income tax preparation services. These services save residents money and ensures that eligible residents apply for and receive important tax credits such as the refundable Schedule H tax you heard the mayor talk about for homeowners and renters, as well as the earned income tax credit and the newly enacted child care tax credit the mayor also got in her last budget. Mayor Bowser and her administration are committed to providing educational programs and strategies to ensure that district residents have a fair shot at creating, building, and protecting wealth. The department offers free educational services year-round to help consumers make informed decisions regarding everyday financial matters. So please visit our website at disb.dc.gov for programs and resources. And again, as you heard, this center is open till 9 tonight, and there's about 3 other sites in the city open from 6 to 8 and one 5:30 to 8 as well. And with that, I'd like to turn over the podium to my colleague, Polly Donaldson.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. Mayor Bowser, thank you also to Carolyn Matthews, a fellow Ward 1 resident, and to colleagues here from the AARP, Legal Counsel for the Elderly, from the CAB as well, who are providing essential services to our residents. I'm actually here to really talk about this in the context of the overall housing investments in Mayor Bowser's Fair Shot budget here for FY20. I have the pleasure of running the Department of Housing and Community Development, and I can tell you that this kind of investment and the whole platform of housing investments, all of which are paid for through additional revenue generated from really looking at what the upshot has been for our economy, for our city, and really making sure that we are in that way paying it forward and saying where has the greatest value occurred with commercial property tax, and let's apply it to the housing affordability needs of our residents. So that means, as the mayor has said, an increase in the trust fund, an increase in the housing preservation fund, and a creation of a brand new workforce housing fund to help those who want to live in the district who are middle income. But it also includes this very important Schedule H property tax credit and also rental credit. And that is just absolutely essential for all of our residents to get a fair shot in the budget in this way. The mayor is, as I think many of you know, nationally recognized for what she is doing in terms of housing investments, housing policies, housing programs. And I think as part of this, the commitment to our seniors and our most vulnerable residents who are have property tax and rental bills that they need to pay, and to get the credit for it in their taxes is absolutely essential. So thank you, Mayor Bowser, and I know that this is an important part of your housing investments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, let me, if I could, also introduce Joseph Lightman Santa Cruz from the Capital Area Asset Builders, also talking about an important tax help assistance that they give.
Thank you, Director. Good morning, everybody. My name is Joseph Lightman Santa Cruz. I'm the Acting Executive Director of the DC-based nonprofit Capital Area Asset Builders. It's great to be here, especially to shed light on the most effective poverty alleviation tool that this nation has had. The District of Columbia should feel extremely proud that we have the most robust earned income tax credit at the state level throughout the United States. The Earned Income Tax Credit, better known as EITC, has been considered for the last 4 decades as the most effective tool that this nation has to lift Americans and Washingtonians out of poverty and keep them out of poverty throughout the whole year. Last year, we estimate that more than 50,000 hardworking, low-income Washingtonians received over $163 million, both from the federal government and the District of Columbia government. However, we estimate that unfortunately about 20,000 EITC-eligible Washingtonians are not claiming this credit, thus unfortunately leaving more than $40 million of their more than 20,000 eligible Washingtonians, of which about 10,000, Mayor Bowser, are unfortunately Ward 7 and 8 residents. That's why it's great to be partnering with your administration. Several key directors in your administration have been economic justice champions to ensure that we spread this information in English, in Spanish, and Amharic to all eligible Washingtonians. CAV is proud to manage the DC Earned Income Tax Credit campaign, which is made available thanks to the support primarily from the Department of Insurance, Securities and Banking, the Mayor's Office on Latino Affairs, Washington Gas, City Community Development, and the United Way of the National Capital Area. We would like to recognize these investments because, as we were indicating, for a hard-working Ward 8 family of 4, that last year might have earned up to $25,000, that same family could receive up to $6,400 in the federal Earned Income Tax Credit. On top of that, that same family could receive more than $2,300 in the DC state version of the EITC. So we're close to $9,000. Something that Commissioner Taylor and I worked on all the time is to ensure that all Washingtonians get a bank or a credit union account. By doing so, they can be saving $800 that otherwise would be spent in alternative financial services. We can do it. We have to do it. Lastly, free tax preparation services being provided by UPO and several other great community-based organizations throughout the District of Columbia. On average, save every Washingtonian family $300. So right there, we can get to the magic $10,000 answer by financially empowering all Washingtonian families if they file their taxes for free, if they get a bank account, and if they set up their selves for success by claiming the Earned Income Tax Credit. Mayor Bowser, your administration has been ahead of the curve throughout the nation. You have fantastic partners on the ground, and we look forward to continuing working with you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So you heard that number, 20,000 people could be leaving up to $9,000. Can you imagine that? And most of it coming from the federal government, and part of it coming from Washington, D.C. local taxes. So don't leave $9,000 on the table. Find one of our free tax sites today through 9 p.m. So that you can make sure your family has access to the refund that you have earned. Okay, and so to Ashley and Jackie and all of our MOCA offices, you are going to spread the word to your constituencies as well, and with our colleague constituencies. All right, we'll take questions now. Yes, sir.
One question I had, I checking with the U.S. Postal Service, they're not leaving their offices open any longer than normal. They close it at the latest 7 o'clock tonight. What do you think about that?
I'm not aware of that. Is that the main post office too?
My understanding from their spokesperson is that the offices, the hours are the same. I mean, in some places in the U.S., they're staying open till like midnight. In D.C., there's no change. It's just the regular office hours, even though it's postal day.
That would have been the first I heard of that. I can't comment on that, Sam. I don't know about that.
And then otherwise, Mayor, can you tell us how, or give us some sense of, if you understand it, how, if you know, how D.C. is faring in terms of this new tax law? Are people here paying more taxes, less taxes, or do you have a sense of it at this point?
Well, I can tell you anecdotally, I think I just read an estimate that people would be getting across the nation about $6 billion less in refunds. So that may mean that they got a little bit more back throughout the year, and it may also mean that they're paying more. I don't know yet what the average refund will be. Yes. Okay.
Of course. Emancipation Day is tomorrow.
Yes.
What does that mean for D.C.?
Well, first of all, it means that the local D.C. government is closed. It is a holiday for us. We are, I think, the only place in the nation that has a holiday for Emancipation Day. We will continue to have activities. The Secretary of State for the district is continuing a schedule of activities for this week. We celebrated with a breakfast, parade, and concert last Friday and Saturday.
And this year does not affect taxes, is that?
This year it doesn't, because sometimes it came on, I think, right adjacent to tax day. So that's why the IRS decided to, I don't actually know why, because it was a weekend. The 15th was on a weekend. Yes.
Wanted to know if you had any reaction to President Trump's comments about sending undocumented immigrants who show up at the border to sanctuary cities, which D.C. is one. So, like, what would you say if he told you we're sending some folks from the border into D.C.?
We have been very clear about making sure that D.C. residents know that they can call on their government for assistance regardless of their immigration status, including going to seek medical attention, calling on the government, enrolling their children in schools. And our position about that hasn't changed.
Some sort of a threat to D.C.? Did it come off that way to you? Like, how did you read those comments?
I see it as a threat to American values and just a shirking of the responsibilities of the federal government. There are a lot of things that that we can do as local governments, but it's squarely the responsibility of the federal government to manage our immigration policies. And the federal government needs to do its job. We are going to do our job, and that job is to make sure that we have a safe, strong city, and that D.C. residents have access to all the benefits of our city.
Just last one on that very quickly. Would there be any concern that if a lot of undocumented immigrants came to D.C. that it would have a fiscal impact that you guys would have to deal with?
As you know, Martin, we evaluate our needs every year, and where we set up this budget that is before the council looks at the 702,000 of us and all of the things that we're committed to in terms of benefits for our residents, but also how we grow our city. Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to know that under the Office of Tax and Revenue, they do have essential to the schedule H.
Yes.
And I'm also requesting that under that, I know that the increase will come the new fiscal year.
Yes.
But I was wondering, is there a possibility that the real property tax could be done quarterly rather than just twice a year? Because it seems like this seems
like a payment schedule, you mean? Does anybody know about that? I think that is a very practical suggestion. Okay.
I don't think it would impact them as much if they could pay it every 3 months or that way. So that's just my suggestion.
I appreciate that. That seems like a very practical suggestion. It could help a lot of people. All right. Thank you, everybody. I think we're going to pop into Petey Green. Is that the plan? Okay. Thank you.